Have you ever watched someone's greed cost them everything? When I was a baby, my aunt passed away, leaving her two children, my cousins, in their early 20s to fend for themselves. My grandparents, who were very wealthy, had thought ahead. Their will included a special clause. If one of their children passed away before the age of 30, their kids would receive half their inheritance immediately, and the rest when my grandparents eventually passed. Both cousins received a fortune, plus the money from selling their mother's home. The younger one used it responsibly. She paid off her student loans, bought property, and built a stable life. The older one, he burned through his share in less than 6 years. Drugs, reckless spending, and one bad decision after another left him broke, living in a small condo, working as a police officer, and barely scraping by. My grandparents tried to save him. They paid for 3 separate rehab stints. He finally sobered up when his wife got pregnant, but she wasn't his saving grace. She was manipulative and greedy, a woman who saw my grandparents as a payday. Within 7 years, they had 3 kids, tying herself to him for good. And whenever they struggled, they turned to my grandparents for money. Being generous people, my grandparents always gave in. My parents, my sister, and I were fed up watching them get exploited. When my grandmother passed away, I was 17. My grandfather was left alone, and I moved in to keep him company. We bonded closely, and I did everything I could to help him. My cousin and his wife hated it. They wanted me out of the picture so they could play saviors. Whenever I wasn't home, they'd send their kids into my room to trash it. They even planted a little noise-making device in my cabinet, the kind that plays random sounds to drive you crazy. Luckily, my German Shepherd found it, but then it escalated. I always kept one of my grandfather's handguns locked in a nightstand box. It was unloaded, with the key hidden high up where no child could possibly reach. One day, I came home to find my cousin, his wife, and my grandfather staring at the gun sitting on the table, loaded, a round chambered, the lockbox gone. My cousin, the cop, claimed one of his kids had found it and started playing with it. I knew immediately he staged the whole thing. A 6-year-old couldn't unlock a case, load a gun, and chamber a round, but he played the authority figure, lectured me on gun safety, and even threatened to arrest me. My grandfather, shaken and unsure, asked me to move out for the time being. My cousin thought he'd won. A month later, my grandfather died of a heart attack at 86. I was crushed. Worse, our bond had been clouded by the lies my cousin spread. While I mourned, my cousin and his wife turned their attention to my dad, suddenly acting like perfect children-in-law, hoping to secure a bigger payday when the estate was divided. Then came the reading of the will. The lawyer met with my parents, my sister, and me. My cousins would be informed separately. And then came the line that changed everything. If anyone attempts to claim any part of the estate not assigned to them, they forfeit everything. Their share will be divided among the remaining family members. It was my grandparents' way of protecting against greed. My dad inherited all physical property, while other assets were split. That's when I saw my chance. I called my cousin and told him my grandmother's enormous jewelry collection was going to charity. I hinted that if a few pieces disappeared before then, nobody would notice. It was bait, and he couldn't resist. He drove straight over and began filling shoeboxes. According to my dad, when he and the lawyer arrived, 3 shoeboxes were already piled on the kitchen counter. As they stood there in disbelief, my cousin walked in from the bedroom carrying a 4th. The moment he saw them, he realized he'd been caught. Because of the will's clause, his entire inheritance was gone. Millions, erased in an instant. His younger sister still received her share without issue, but he lost everything. Within weeks, his wife filed for divorce. We haven't heard from him in nearly 6 years. In the end, it wasn't me who destroyed him. It was his own greed. I simply gave him the chance to prove who he really was. I would give anything to have my grandparents back, but there's something poetic about letting someone's selfishness take them down. Sometimes, the most satisfying revenge is letting people dig their own grave.